Free ice looks like frozen water, but it is frozen carbon dioxide, and it never melts because liquid carbon dioxide cannot exist at normal air pressure. Instead, it changes directly from a solid into invisible gas, so a block can vanish without leaving a single puddle. That shortcut is called sublimation, and it happens at about -109 degrees Fahrenheit, far colder than anything inside a household freezer. So the name is slightly misleading. Dry ice is not water-based ice with some special ingredient. It is the same carbon dioxide found in exhaled breath and carbonated drinks, pushed into a solid form that cannot remain stable in an ordinary room. Production usually begins with carbon dioxide captured from industrial processes such as fermentation or ammonia production, where the gas is already available in concentrated streams. The captured gas must be cleaned because moisture, dust, and unwanted compounds could affect the machinery or the purity of the finished product. Compressors then squeeze the carbon dioxide, while cooling systems carry away the heat created during compression. Under the right combination of pressure and temperature, the gas becomes a liquid. Think of it as crowding people into a room until they are forced much closer together. The liquid carbon dioxide is stored in insulated pressure tanks, but it still is not dry ice. The real transformation begins when that pressurized liquid is released into a chamber at much lower pressure. Part of the liquid flashes into gas almost instantly. That rapid expansion pulls away so much heat that another part of the carbon dioxide freezes into tiny white particles. Within seconds, a clear liquid becomes something that looks like fresh snow. This carbon dioxide snow is the raw material used to make blocks, slices, nuggets, and pellets of dry ice. The factory does not simply cool every bit of carbon dioxide until it freezes. Instead, it lets part of the liquid evaporate, and that escaping portion cools the rest enough to turn solid. Some modern production systems recover part of the escaping gas and feed it back into the process rather than releasing all of it. The loose snow is extremely cold, but it is too soft and airy for most practical uses. Now it must be compressed into a product dense enough to package, ship, and handle. For large blocks, a hydraulic press packs the carbon dioxide snow into a mold until the particles lock together into a solid mass. The finished block is pushed out and cut into sizes suited for products that must stay deeply frozen. To make pellets, a piston forces the snow through a metal plate filled with round holes, much like pushing dough through a pasta maker. The emerging rods break into short pieces, creating pellets in different sizes for cooling or industrial cleaning. Larger pellets are often placed inside insulated shipping containers because they are easy to distribute around packages. Smaller pellets can be fired at dirty equipment in a process called dry ice blasting. They strike the surface, help loosen grease or residue, and then turn into gas, leaving no meltwater and little material to sweep up afterward. But why does dry ice refuse to become liquid on your table? Carbon dioxide does have a liquid form. It exists inside pressurized tanks, some fire extinguishers, and many industrial systems. The deciding factor is pressure. Water can remain solid, liquid, or gas at ordinary atmospheric pressure, so an ice cube can melt normally in a glass. Carbon dioxide behaves differently because its liquid form is not stable at the pressure surrounding us. As solid carbon dioxide warms in open air, it has only one stable destination: gas. Imagine the liquid phase as a floor in a building that the elevator cannot reach unless the pressure is raised first. At normal pressure, dry ice moves directly from the solid floor to the gas floor without stopping in between. The same process creates the famous white cloud, but the cloud itself is not carbon dioxide smoke. Carbon dioxide gas is invisible. As dry ice sublimates, the extremely cold gas chills moisture in the surrounding air and turns it into tiny, visible water droplets. It is the same basic reason your breath becomes visible on a cold morning, only faster and far more dramatic. Warm water strengthens the effect because it transfers heat into the dry ice quickly. making it sublimate faster and release more cold gas. The fog often stays low because the cold mixture of carbon dioxide and moist air is denser than the warmer air around it. That is why it rolls across a table or floor instead of rising like hot smoke. The effect looks theatrical, but the useful part is simple. Dry ice provides intense cooling without electricity and leaves no puddle behind. That combination makes dry ice useful for shipping frozen food, laboratory samples, some medicines, and other temperature-sensitive materials. Unlike regular ice, it does not become water that can soak cardboard, damage labels, weaken insulation, or reach the product itself. But disappearing does not mean harmless. Dry ice can injure skin within seconds because it is cold enough to freeze tissue, producing damage similar to a burn. It should be handled with insulated gloves or suitable tongs, never with bare hands. The expanding gas creates another danger. As dry ice sublimates, a small amount of solid carbon dioxide becomes a much larger volume of gas. Inside a sealed bottle, jar, cooler, or rigid container, that gas has nowhere to escape. Pressure can rise until the container bursts violently, so dry ice must always be stored in packaging that can vent safely. Ventilation matters for a different reason. Carbon dioxide is not usually described as a poison, but a high concentration can displace breathable air in a small room, vehicle, basement, or storage area. Because the gas is colorless and odorless, a dangerous buildup may not be obvious before someone becomes dizzy, confused, or unconscious. Production sites therefore use ventilation and carbon dioxide monitors. Dry ice should also be transported with adequate ventilation, especially when it shares an enclosed vehicle space with people. Even inside thick insulation, dry ice keeps shrinking. Sublimation cannot be switched off while the surrounding pressure favors gas. Insulation can only slow the process by limiting heat transfer and reducing the time between production and delivery. That creates an unusual supply chain. The product begins disappearing the moment it is made. Manufacturers often produce dry ice close to demand, package it quickly, and plan deliveries around material that continuously reduces its own inventory. That vanishing act is not a defect caused by poor storage. It is the same behavior that makes dry ice clean, convenient, and useful. The process starts with invisible carbon dioxide gas, turns it into a pressurized liquid, releases it as snow, and compresses that snow into a solid product. Then normal air pressure takes over and steadily turns the solid back into the invisible gas where it began. Dry ice never melts. It simply returns to the air.